Hey, you fucks. Thanks for, checking out the videos, showing a little bit of support. How about you take it to the next level and show us some love over there on Patreon, huh? Huh? Huh?
Hot, sexy bitches. Yeah. Oh, just get there. Cousin, yeah, dude. Oh, strength and honor. Strength and honor. Right. Other man.
Yo, what the fuck is up there, everybody out there on YouTube?
Stop
It's
it.
good by
Harold,
Papa Tico
Harold.
coming to you live from the Japan land. And, yeah, how's it going, guys? I am, today we're talking about, just a show that I really, really liked recently that I wanted to share with you guys because, I don't know, I got shit to talk about, you know? Like, there's certain things I want to talk about. And the great thing about my YouTube channel, all three, I don't know, how many do I have at this point? At least the three that I upload to constantly, you know, it's, the great thing about YouTube is you get to share shit that you like, that hopefully other people that didn't know about it can find out about it, and they can also like, you know? And, that's why I wanted to talk about today the TV show Vice Principals, because I don't know, it's just like, it's one of those shows where it shouldn't be so, like, you know, it's one of those things where, like, it shouldn't be so impactful, right? But for some reason it is. And I don't know why. It's like, you know, it's one of those things where, like, I was watching Cracky Reads the other day. He's, you know, Cracky Reads, he's got what everyone needs. Cracky had this great, what do you call it? Like, he had, you know, he brought up a good point where it's like, you know, tribal, like, you know, there's a lot of, like, tribalism going on these days in 2025 or whatever, or 2026 or whatever, you know, the 2020s. Excuse me, Princess Bourbon. But it's like, you know, tribalism isn't really that bad. You're just getting with the people that get your vibe, you know, that like the same shit that you like, kind of thing. And I don't know, there's just something about Vice Principals that sets itself apart from all this other stuff, but on top of that, it's really likable for me, and I wanted to share that stuff with you guys today. So, yeah, I mean, like, you know, like, it's so funny. I started like blending in these at-home videos with the motorcycle videos, and I got a comment from some guy, and it was obviously like a backhanded compliment kind of shit. I always hate it when people are passive-aggressive like that. It's like, if you want, like, you're afraid of getting banned, so you're not talking shit, but you're still indirectly talking shit, you fucking pussy. But yeah, this guy's like, oh, I haven't seen you on your motorcycle in over 2 years. So I just assumed this was a health-related issue or a poverty-related issue. And I go on his channel, it's all like Minecraft bullshit. Like, I'm like, you know, it's just like, I'm like, come on, dude. Like, you know, some guy who plays Minecraft is giving me like a backhanded compliment. Like, oh, fuck off, dude. I mean, like, older men, they could be, like, you know, older men, we like our nostalgia and everything too and whatnot and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, come on, dude. Like, you're, I don't know. It's like, you're, like, whenever I see a guy who says something, like, who talks shit or whatever, if it's a profile with, like, nothing on it, I immediately just, like, I'm like, I don't care. You're not worth my time. You're a pussy. You're too afraid to show yourself. And, like, I just ignore it. But if it's somebody who actually has something on their profile, it's always either somebody who has videos about themselves, or like with themselves in the video, or just somebody who re-uploads shit. And I don't know, it's like, the moment I see that you're like a grown man and you still watch pro wrestling, or like, I don't know, it's just like you're like seriously debating like kid shows or something. It's like, shut up, dude, you're such an idiot. But anyway, I don't know, it makes me happy that like the people that like don't like my stuff are retarded, you know. It's like, okay, good. Like, you know, I don't know why they don't like it, but it's okay, you know, like, who gives a shit about what they say? It's like, you know, you're never gonna see somebody who's actually accomplished and like having a good life being like, God, man, you fucking suck, because it's like, aw, like, man, I'd actually really care kind of about what you have to say about me, but oh, it's just some Loser idiot online. Oh, okay, yeah, their opinion doesn't matter. It's like a Reddit mod. Like, yeah, they don't matter. You know, sex work is real work, man. Yeah, sure, dude. Why do I keep yawning? It's because it's cold. Let me close the door. Shit. It's fucking cold. Well, I mean, it's one of those days where, like, it's probably going to be a warm day, but it's like physically cold because it's the morning. But anyway, we're at the 5-minute point now here. But yeah, let me just do some self-promo, get that out of the way ahead of time. Anyway, guys, you know that this channel is almost 100% fan-funded. So Google AdSense doesn't pay me shit. So if you guys really want to help out the channel, you know what to do. You can smash the like button and leave a comment to help me with the engagement. Make sure you're subscribed, but also join my Patreon. I've got a ton of different fucking bonus content there that you guys can go check out. It's patreon.com/TikyoSam. And if you guys ever wanted to learn Japanese or move to Japan or like just anything, you come over, go check it out, and yeah, you're helping out the channel. So fuck yeah. Maybe I need more coffee. But anyway, yeah, and if you guys don't want to support me on Patreon for whatever reason, you guys can still help me out by super chatting, becoming a member, by pushing that join button. And yeah, it's badass. So get in there. Speaking of which, the big super chat member of the day is this guy right here. Boom. Okay. Dad is back. Oh, man. Yeah, guys, I gotta say thank you to the guy who did the thing. Big shout out to you. You've got giant titanium New York balls, and we do not deserve your sweet, sweet gangster. Anyway, yeah. So, yeah, like I said, guys, if you don't want to throw money at me, you can just simply smash the like button and leave a comment. And it still helps me out a shit ton. And, God, ever since like a couple weeks ago, I started using nose spray when I do my live streams for like if I needed to. It's just like breathing out of my nose. Like at the beginning, it's so funny when I'm not talking, it's fine, but like as soon as I start talking or whatever, it's like I don't know. It's so funny because it's like congestion isn't really that big a deal until you have to talk and breathe at the same time, and then you realize, oh, well, I was breathing through my nose. But, and that was, like, enough when I'm not talking. But as soon as I start talking, yeah, like, my nose is somehow, it doesn't want to work. It makes the congestion worse. And, anyway, yeah, God, dude, like, I've had this nasal spray bottle in my fucking, like, in my junk drawer for, like, 5+ years. I don't even know if you're supposed to use nose spray if it's over 5 years, but whatever, it's fine. And, yeah, it just feels good, shit. Now I can fucking breathe so I can talk about this stuff. But, yeah, like today we're talking about this TV show, Vice Principals, that I really liked. And I wanted to kind of spiel to you guys about it while we're talking and watching. I've got clips of, yeah, like the on the bottom right is the clips from Vice Principal. And then the top left is, from Eastbound and Down, and then in the background we've got like a Wu-Tang Kung Fu movie, and just because I thought it was interesting and funny, but yeah, and then I've got the soundtrack for Vice Principals playing on my phone in the background, which is probably, you guys can hear it, but I'll probably download it and put it subtly in the background of this video so you guys can listen to it. But yeah, I mean, I love these rants because I can just spiel about this shit that I wanted to talk to you guys about, about like random shit on my mind that hopefully, like, if you guys like me, for whatever reason, not like 100% consensual, if you guys like me, then you'll probably like the stuff that I'm into, and because what I'm into kind of forms who I am, right? And yeah, I don't know, man. I really fucking, I liked Vice Principals. I liked it a lot. And this was, like, from 2016, so it's almost been, like, 10 years since that series got released. And, yeah, like, when did fucking, Eastbound and Down get released? Shit. I got to look stats up really quick. Hold on. When was the show Eastbound and Down released? Yeah, because this Vice Principals show, the reason why I like it so much is that it feels like a spiritual successor to Eastbound and Down. And oh wow, so Eastbound and Down was 2009, and it was until 2013, and then this what happened 3 years later. So yeah, let me ask, are the same people who worked on that show, did they also make Vice Principals? Yeah, because, Vice Principals, it's like a spiritual successor, like a spiritual sequel, and yep, indeed, sir, they did. The creative minds behind Eastbound and Down, Danny McBride, Jody Hill, and Best, were instrumental in shaping the series. For Vice Principals, McBride and Hill continued their collaboration. Okay, wow, yeah, so it's the same people. And, yeah, I don't know, man, it's just like, I really like the character Kenny Powers, from Eastbound and Down. And it's so funny because Eastbound and Down is a TV show named after a song from a Burt Reynolds movie called Smokey and the Bandit. And I never watched I knew about Burt Reynolds growing up, but I never watched his stuff, if that makes sense, It's not that, like, I don't like Burt Reynolds. It's just, like, it's, like, a lot of his movies were kind of, like, they're 70s-ish, They're kind of boring. I don't mean that in, like, oh, they suck. I mean, I just, like, it was hard for me to sit through it, like, Like, I bet during that time when they were released, they were pretty fucking cool. But for me, I'm like, like, I don't really, it's not that big of a fucking deal, to me, kind of thing. But yeah, it's like, if you guys have any, Burt Reynolds movie recommendations, let me know. Maybe I could do, like, a Burt Reynolds day where I just, like, hang out with you guys on stream and we watch Burt Reynolds shit. But yeah, anyway, like, a lot of people that are like older than me, like, I'm an 80s kid, so people that were like 70s kids or whatever, like, they love Burt Reynolds, like, even like Archer and stuff, like, people that were like, I guess you could say like 10 to like 20 years older than me, like, they grew up with, like, the male role models of, like, fucking Burt Reynolds and stuff. And that's why, like, in the TV show Archer, like, Archer loves Burt Reynolds so much, because it's, like, that was, like, his idea of, like, male masculinity and shit, right? And so, yeah, it's, I really, whatchamacallit, it's, like, Eastbound and Down, and Vice Principals, like, to know Vice Principals, you gotta know Eastbound and Down, but that deserves its own video. So for Eastbound and Down, I'll just fucking summarize it as Eastbound and Down is about a guy who used to be a professional baseball player, and then he quits baseball, or, well, he doesn't quit, he gets fired from baseball, and then the whole series is him trying to get back into becoming real life, like, again, like, major baseball, what do you call it, Major League Baseball player, and the shit that's around his life. But the thing is that, like, it's a guy who, he's, like, talented enough, and he has his own style, and, like, there are some people that are just mesmerized by him, but he's an idiot, like, he's an idiot, and, but he has, like, I like it because it's like, we grow up with these TV shows where everyone, it's like black and white. You're either a good guy or a bad guy. There's no, like, in between, And I like it how these new TV shows, they always show that, like, there's a gray area, Like, I did a rant on Mr. In Between, right? Like, a show about a hitman in Australia. And he's a hitman, He's a guy who kills people, but he's got a code, He's like, he doesn't kill women, he doesn't kill children. And, it's like, what is it? He's got a clear line, and he's got friends who he takes care of and he defends, and then, there's everybody else kind of thing. And so it's like, you grow up with this, like, kind of morally, like, what is it, like, kind of like ambiguity, like, gray area and stuff. So it's like, not everyone is 100% completely evil. I mean, some people are, but, so, like, a lot of us are just, like, there's some, like, it's like that guy in, I always think of it as, like, when people say they don't like characters like Dexter, or, like, Tom Cruise in Collateral or whatever, it's like you got to remember, like these people, it's not so clear cut, you know. And it reminds me of that guy in like the new Rambo. I mean, the Rambo that was like the one before he's in Texas or something, the one before Rambo's character dies. Like it reminds me of that NGO guy or whatever who's like, we are here to help the people, and I won't use guns, and even though you use guns to defend our lives, I'm gonna report you later. And it's like they're these idealists who want the world to be their way, but when they're confronted with that's not how the way the world works, they try to hurt people that were like, you know, just simply trying to show them that, like, look, it's not like that, and I saved your ass. But they're not grateful at all. They're just like fucking delusional idiots, right? And I don't know, it's one of those things where it's like everything's fake and gay, everybody's a hypocrite, but you gotta be, as long as you're solid with yourself and your convictions, your morals, your ethics, then hopefully that seeps onto other people too. And you know, like, what's the whole thing, right? Like power corrupts, right? As soon as it's like the whole like iDubbbz H3H3 situation, right? Like, these guys were cool. They used to stand for something, right? Like, it wasn't a grift. These guys went after people who were genuine pieces of shit who needed to be called out. But as soon as these guys became millionaires, as soon as they got a taste of money, that's when they were worried about losing their cash. That's when they started isolating their original friends and fans from them. And they go into, you know, they found this social circle of just toxic people who enabled their behavior to become shittier and shittier and more like the people that they were judging and making videos about the whole time, right? And so, you know, the same thing with like the Eastbound and Down. Like, it shows, I like it how the system is like, it shows that like Kenny Powers is just this guy who like doesn't give a fuck. And like there's scenes where like, you know, wait, if you talk like that, you get in trouble immediately kind of thing. But now that it's like 2010s, 2020s kind of thing, I mean, I haven't been in America forever, so I don't know how realistic that is. But seeing all these fucking idiots post all this shit online and seeing, like, for example, like that school board in, what was it, Maryland or Maine, that like forced the girls, like the girls were like, we're not going to change in the locker room with this guy here in like the middle school, and the teachers were like, they made them go back there, made them get undressed in front of this guy. And it's like, if shit like that happens regularly, then you know, it's not so much a disbelief thing for me to be like, oh, well, people can say like shit and fucking stuff around their coworkers at a public school, if that makes sense. And I don't know, it's just silly, it's just ridiculousness. But I like it how the dialogue is not so, like, Danny McBride, he's so smart. He gets basically every role where he's like Jeff Goldblum. He always just plays himself. He's not like Johnny Depp, who can change himself into different fucking characters or whatever. Danny McBride is always just this dude who's like, yep, I'm just me, I'm being me, and I'm gonna get paid for it. And I remember the first time I think I saw him was in the movie Pineapple Express, and I was like, this guy's annoying. Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't like this guy. I don't like this character at all. And then it's like, wait a second. That's the charm, though. Is that, like, he's just playing this, like, lazy character. But, like, yeah, like, he's him. Like, that's the beauty of it. And then I saw him again in, like, Tropical Thunder, where he's, like, a demolitions guy and shit. And, I don't know. It's just, like, I like Danny Bride's characters, because usually it shows that, I don't know what you might call it. I'm trying to find words here. I'm trying to explain myself, but it's just like a lot of people get caught up in their own bullshit, and it's like they don't do any research. They're lazy. They jump to conclusions. They say stupid, like, offensive shit. You know, but like the thing though is that, like, he's, for some reason, you still like him, you know? And, I don't know, it's like, for example, like, there's things that you can like and not like about characters, right? Or, like, actors or something. And, you know, for example, in this TV show, vice principals. Yeah, I guess it's 20-minute point. We should get into the storyline. So vice principals is about, it's very simple. It's about these two guys who are vice principals at this public high school, and the main principal's his wife gets cancer, so he has to step down to take care of her, and that guy's Bill Murray. So Bill Murray's in the first episode. He's not in the rest of the series, but he's in the first episode. And the two vice principals, who they've never liked each other, and they've always been kind of fighting for the main principal position. And the vice principals are Danny McBride and Walter Goggins, and their characters are, again, it's like you don't like them initially because they're these guys who are insecure, they're jealous, they don't lead perfect lives, you know, like Danny McBride's character is a divorced, like, kind of overweight dude who, he's a hard ass. He's, like, way too hard on people at the school, you know. He's, like, he gives out suspensions left and right like an asshole. He's got no friends. He's a power-tripping douchebag. He's divorced. His ex-wife doesn't like him, and his ex-wife's new husband or boyfriend is actually, like, a really nice guy who doesn't mind when Danny McBride is an asshole because he understands, like, the guy's just, like, insecure, like, and whatever, and so he never lets the Danny McBride's insults get to him because he's like, yeah, he's just an insecure divorced guy, so, like, why would I care? And it's always so funny because, like, again, like, this kind of takes away the tropes. Like, for example, like, the stepdad who took away, who, like, made his wife leave him, and it's like, no, it's very clear that Danny McBride's wife left him, and then she found this guy. It's not the other way around, and the other guy's super nice, and it's like, oh, okay, so there's a trope that they throw on the head, right? And then they got Walter Goggins' character, who's, like, kind of like a southerner, but he dresses very nicely. Like, in Japanese, they say dandy. He's a dandy boy. Dandy in Japanese means manly, but dandy, I thought in America, means that, like, you're, like, a prissy boy, like a little prisker. But in Vice Principals, Walter Goggins' character, he dresses like he dresses really nice. He takes care of his fashion. He does the stupid thing where his, like, pants are rolled up, but so his legs are exposed, but you can see his socks, you know, and he's, like, always, he's kind of wearing, like, sometimes pink or whatever, and he's a people pleaser. You know, he's always being really nice, but, like, secretly he's just an asshole who's just manipulating people. And he's also, like, really insecure, and he doesn't have any friends. But unlike Danny McBride, who's just, like, an asshole and wants people to be his friend, but he's, like, too insecure to ask people, like, to be his friend, Walter Goggins is always super nice to everybody, and they like him, but he doesn't have any friends. And, like, he's just doing it because he's, like, a better equipped social butterfly than Danny McBride's character. I guess I should just call them Gamby. Gamby is Danny McBride's character, and then you've got Russell's, who is Walter Goggins. So I'll just call them Gamby and Russell's. But yeah, and so, like, you know, you've got these two characters who are, they're men in power. One does power trippy shit. The other guy, he's friends with everybody, but he still, like, really doesn't respect anyone. But he's better at doing the social things, you know? Like, one's a good cop, one's a bad cop kind of thing. But they both don't like each other because they're both different, you know? Like, Russell's, or what is it? Gamby hates Russell's because Russell's is popular with people and nobody really hates him. Russell's hates Gamby because he's a hard ass and he's, like, antisocial, so he doesn't like him, you know? And yeah, and so it's just like yeah, you know, and this whole show, it's funny because it's like these characters, if you went to high school in America, you probably encountered some teacher or, like, some faculty at a school like this, you know, where it's just like, oh, you're just, like, a kind of socially awkward guy who, like, the only thing that gives him an ego boost is the fact that he has, like, a semi-high powerful position in this school. Like, you know, like, in this school, like, you know, you're not a doctor, you're not a CEO of a company, you're just a principal of a public school who's which is, like, really underfunded, And like, you know, it's like you're not working with the best and the brightest kind of thing, right? But you're like proud of that. And yeah, it's just like Walter Goggins too. He's this guy who's like, you think he's kind of gay because of the way he talks, the way he dresses, and his body, you know, like what is it, you know, his like body language and stuff. But he's married to the cute Korean or Chinese, I forgot where she's from. Well, the character's Korean, but I don't know if she's Korean or Chinese. But like the woman who was from Fargo, that's the one I always remember, the chick from Fargo. She's his wife. And it's so funny because like she's a doctor, you know, and he's a vice principal, and they live with his wife's mother, who's Korean that never learned English or something. And it's funny because like he hates his mother-in-law, and like even when he's nice, she's just mean and screaming to him in Korean. And I don't know, it's funny. It's funny to me because it's just like, yeah, I could see that. I could see some dude marrying some chick and having to take care of her fucking... I mean, like, I have a friend I can think of off the top of my head in Japan who's American, who divorced his wife because he hated living with his mother-in-law. And yeah, so like the Asian mother-in-law being a bitch, that's you know, that is something real, you know. But also it's just like in this show too, it goes to show, like, I'm lucky, right? Like, I'm freelance, and so I don't really belong to any institution, you know? I don't need to be anywhere Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, you know? But, that like, the thing is that, like, you know, I'm very grateful that I don't need to do that, because it works better for me that way, you know? It wouldn't be easy for me to do a 9 to 5 job where I have to do stuff just because somebody told me to do something. Like, for instance, in the show, you know, they get, like, so, like, you know, Russell's and Gamby, they think that they're going to be, one of them is going to be the new principal at the beginning of the show because Bill Murray's principal character is leaving, right? But no, even though those guys have been at the school forever, even though they've shown that they have a good track record and they're good at the school or whatever, the superintendent of the school district decides to get a different fucking principal. And the only reason they hire her is because she's like a black woman with a PhD. Even though, like, what is it? Like, she's been a principal at multiple other schools, but they hire her because they think it's going to look good for the school. They don't like, you know, they don't care about, like, being fair for these guys that have put in their work and their effort, right? And so, of course, the two vice principals are all fucking really pissed off. They're like, what the hell, dude? We've paid our dues. We've got nothing but, like, good remarks and shit. Like, what the hell? And so the whole show is, like, even though these guys are insecure and they're not, like, really, like, strong, masculine, perfect guys like we see in the TV show, we see that all these other people that seem to have their shit together, they're still insecure. They're still assholes. They're still, like, kind of liars or hypocrites too, right? It's just like a same shit, different coat of painting kind of thing. And I really like that. It just, like, you know, it shows that, like, when you're older, you can still be this guy who, you know, like, you might not be the most popular or smartest dude, but, like, all these other people that quote-unquote are smarter or better than you, they're all, like, you know, not all of them, but it's like, you know, some of them can still be just, like, kind of bullying, like, holier-than-thou assholes, you know? And, but I like it, too, how the show has, like, it's the whole point is kind of, like, redemption and changing for the better and, like, evolving. And in this show, you know, like, they hire the new female principal, and, oh, shit, what was the point I was trying to make before I cut myself off there? Shit. They've got that new female principal, right? And it's like, she's hired, and then they find out later in the episode that she's fired every vice principal that she's worked with. So she's got blood on her hands, you know, like, she goes to schools, she reforms them, quote unquote, for herself. And oh yeah, so the point I was getting at is that it shows that, like, life is unfair, you know. And if you're going to work for these institutions, if you're going to work for a 9 to 5 full-time job, then you got to remember that, like, you know, no matter what you do, I mean, you should always strive to be the best, but you got to be grounded in reality. And the reality is that you could be the best vice principal with like a good track record, and you've been working at that school for decades. But if you don't, you know, if you are, if your bosses don't give a shit about you, they don't care, you know, because they know that you're going to put up with it. And like when that new principal joins the school, she starts just treating like, you know, Gamby like shit, because Gamby puts in a complaint. You know, he doesn't know really what to do, so he just files a complaint with the school board, and he's like, she sucks, I don't like her, yeah, whatever, she sucks. And then she's like, okay, as punishment for you trying to tattle on me and get me fired, I'm going to make it so you have to come into school early every day to teach driver's ed. And on top of that, every Tuesday, you got to go out and you got to buy food for everybody here. And, you know, I'm guessing it's the school, so they paid for it, and like he pays for it and they reimburse him. But, you know, he's the one going out of his way to buy the shit every Tuesday, but she's taking credit for it because it was quote unquote her idea, right? And so, she's just being a bitch, you know, like instead of trying to work with them, she's just like trying to assert her place, you know. She's trying to do like prison rules where it's like rule by fear, not by cooperation and understanding, right? And so that's when the big story point, or like the storyline, is revealed, and that it's like, okay, Russell's and Gamby, these two vice principals who hate each other, who have never liked each other, they decide to join forces because they'd rather have one of them be a principal than this like DEI hire woman that's like, you know. And again, like this woman, she's supposedly really smart, she's got a doctorate, she's been a principal at multiple different schools, but you know, she's this woman who she dated like just this like hood dude, like this guy who just looks like a fucking like shoe salesman or whatever. Like he's not he doesn't seem like he's in academia like her. And on top of that, she has two kids that go to private school, but they're still little shits who just don't follow the rules, and they smoke pot, and they talk shit about their mom and everything. And like, you know, and like she moves to their town because her husband was cheating on her, and not just that, but her sons walked in on her husband fucking another chick, and so she's like, fuck this, we gotta move. And the sons are like, dude, we don't care that dad was cheating on you, we don't want to, like, you know, like you might want to leave, but we want to stay here. And yeah, and so she's like, but she's like, fuck you, I want to do what I want to do, and like kind of reinforcing that she doesn't have her shit together, and that she's selfish, she doesn't care about other people, she cares about herself only, just like these guys kind of, right? So she's no better than them. And so it's just like, again, like when you are working full time, when you're working for an institution where all of your hopes and dreams are caught up in what other people want you to do, then is bullshit, right? Like, why would you want to, like, you know, like, why would you put all your cards in somebody else's deck that doesn't have your best interest in mind, right? And so these guys, like, they really want to be principals, like Gamby wants to be a principal because his dad was a principal. It's really important for him that he, you know, to make his dad proud, that he wants to be a principal. And then for Russell's is like, well, his wife is a doctor. He wants to show that he can have some level of prestige just like her. And so he wants to be at least a principal. You know, to him, it's a big deal. And, you know, as the show goes on, you learn more. I mean, just like any TV show, the more the show goes on, you learn more about the characters, you learn more about their flaws, more about, like, what their desires are, more about, like, what they want. And it goes to show how it's like, you know, movies are always trying to show you, like, the best, perfect way of stuff to happen, for stuff to go down. But real life isn't perfect. Real life is full of cringe and awkward moments, and not perfect dialogue, right? And that's the fun thing about vice principals and like Eastbound and Down, is that like it's awkward, it's cringy, but it's not too far away from the norm, right? Like, you know, most people aren't talking like they've had like a whole dialogue written for them already, with like you know, special vernacular and all this good sounding vocab, right? Just regular people being regular people kind of thing. And I really like that about the show, you know, is that like again, like it shows people's imperfections, but also there's hope. There's like, you know, you get, even though these characters are not like super good people, you get invested, you know, like in Eastbound and Down, you want Kenny Powers to become like, even though he's kind of an asshole, I know he's a very big asshole, and you know, like he's kind of full of himself and he's full of bullshit. You want him to succeed, though, you know, because you feel like once he does that like he'll kind of get his life into order, you know, like he'll get his life in order. And same thing in Vice Principals. It's like these guys, you don't really care about them, but you're invested in the drama between both of them. But then automatically in the first episode, you see a flip. The switch gets flipped, and both of these guys who hate each other, they have to combine forces in order to take this new person in power down. And you're like, okay, well, these two guys hate each other. How are they going to work this out? And like, one is Gamby, and he's kind of, you know, again, like he's full of himself. He's, you know, he doesn't exercise. He doesn't fucking, you know, like he's there for his daughter, but he's not really interested in like pushing her into doing stuff. And you know, like his house is really boring looking. It's not that interesting. And you know, it's just like he's living for the job, and that's it. And then you see Russell's character, and his house is all super decorated, and like, you know, even though he's this guy who's like a southern gentleman, his you know, you look at his house and he's got all these pictures of him and his wife, and he's dressed up in Korea, like they had a Korean style wedding, and he'll still sit down and he'll watch Korean dramas with no subtitles with the mother-in-law. I love it. It's so great. There's a scene in the show where he's sitting down and he's depressed and he's watching Korean dramas, which are like super romantic, just bushy-wushy, kind of smoochy-woochy kind of dramas. They're so corny. It's like, think of like soap operas for your parents when we were growing up. It's just so convoluted. But he's sitting there and he's watching he's sitting there and he's like watching the show, and then it's like, oh, but I don't love you, but I do love you, or something. And then like the mother-in-law's like, oh, and he's like, oh, like, you know, he's like, oh my god, like, you know, he's all invested in the show too. And but I mean, he's not gay, right? He fucks his wife and everything. I don't know why they don't have kids, but yeah, it's just like you know, you find these two guys and they've never been 100% like super good people. Like, you know, like Gamby represents the nice guy. You know, like, you know, those kind of guys who complain about how they're the nice guy that women never look at. They treat people with respect. You know, they don't fuck with people, but meanwhile, like, the chicks go and fuck the asshole guy, the guy who doesn't give a shit, the guy who gets them pregnant and leaves them. And but meanwhile, like, the nice guy's just this narcissistic dude who's like, well, because I'm nice, I deserve this, and since you're not giving it to me, you're a bitch and you deserve whatever bad thing happens to you. That's kind of like Gamby's character. He's like insecure dude who like thinks he's better than everyone, but he's not really doing anything to make himself look good aside from being a principal, you know. And then, like, you know, Russell's just this guy who dresses well and everything, but like he's still, like, he got bullied a lot as a kid, and so he's got this deep insecurity about himself where he feels like he needs to lie and manipulate people in order to get his way. And you see the way that, like, and then you find out later, I won't spoil it, but anyway, there's something that he does that you find out later that he did that, like, is like in college, which was like a really like piece of shit move. And so, like, what kind of ends up happening to him is kind of like, okay, yeah, you deserve that, you asshole. But yeah, I mean, like, the show, it's just got such flavor and style to it too. Like, they use almost like 80 to 90% of the time they're using like synthwave music, like you'd hear in like an 80s movie or something. Excuse me. And it's just I love it too. Like, it's because this show, I think it's made, like, if somebody asks what's the demographic for, it's probably for people that were born in the 80s or late 70s would probably really like this show. If you're asking for the demographic, you know, you're wondering like what's going on there, you know, who's this for? It's for people that, like, when I think about it, you know, like, I'm almost I mean, I'm not 40 yet, but, like, you know, give me a couple years and I'll be 40, right? And it's just like, I don't consider myself a super man baby, because I think man babies are people who live with their parents and don't support themselves. They don't do a job, and they love like getting invested in children's games like Pokemon or something, and they collect Funko Pops, and you know, they've never been laid or whatever, and they have bad hygiene or something. Like, I think of that as like a man baby, you know? But like, if you're like, you know, for me, I'm like, yeah, well, I'm a man, you know. I like masculine activities like camping, and you know, I don't know. I don't live with my parents. I pay for my own rent. You know, I pay for my own life. I moved to another country by myself. You know, not a lot of people can do that. You know, even though I work part time, I make enough money to pay for all my shit, pay my taxes, pay my bills, pay my insurance and pension, you know? Like, I'm a big boy. I just don't have a job that has status. That's all it is, right? Like, and so it's like, what's more important to you, status or you being happy, kind of thing? And I think about my friends back home, and like, you know, like, for example, I've got one friend who's a college professor now. I have another friend who is, I don't know, I've got like two friends off the top of my head who are public school teachers. I've got two friends who like run their own companies or whatever. Like, it's kind of like a mixed bag, you know, of people. But, you know, I could see somebody like, you know, being 40 or whatever and being a vice principal, that's not too far off, right? Like, you know, you could be, like, you could, like, you know, for somebody like me or my age, you know, like, you know, mid to late 30s, it's like you could, if you had gotten out of college and you started a career for the last like 12 to 15 years or something, right? Then you probably already have a career set up, kind of thing, right? Where it's just like, oh, well, you've been working at this one place for a while, and now you can, you know, like, what is it? You've been working at this one place for a while, and you've established yourself. You've been in a place where you can grow. Because, like, I mean, I haven't ever looked this up, but I'm pretty sure if you want to be a vice principal or a principal, you need to... Do you have to have a master's degree or a PhD? I know it helps, but I don't know if that's a requirement. But you have to have been a teacher for a while, right? Like, in Japan, you don't need a master's degree or a PhD to be a principal here or vice principal. You just need to have been a teacher for a while. Like, in fact, that's one of the reasons why I was able to make friends with a lot of the vice principals or principals at the school, was because they were already teachers. And I remember the second, maybe third school that I taught at, the principal was an English teacher, and he had just gotten divorced, or, well, quote unquote separated. And so, like, every Wednesday he would take me out to a new seafood restaurant, because he's like, we're gonna keep going until you like sea urchin. I swear, that guy made me try sea urchin probably like 25, 30 times. And it was great. He would just take me out, and he would just want to speak English with me. And we would talk about all this random stuff and get drunk. And it's so funny because, like, he couldn't do that with the Japanese staff. That would be showing too much favoritism. But because he was doing it with me, if anyone asked, they would be like, oh yeah, well, I mean, like, you know, Sam Sensei's new to the city. And, he, you know, like, I'm just trying to show him a good time being a good senpai. And I don't see any of you other assholes offering to do that. So, like, he had, like, an out to, like, not only talk to somebody young who's cool, but also, like, there's no, like, cultural obligations, because I didn't grow up in Japan. I didn't really speak Japanese at that time. And so, like, he could be himself in an environment where he felt safe, where people weren't going to gossip about him or whatever, right? And so it's just, like, I don't know, when you're in a career path or whatever like that, where now, like, people my age, they probably have a career. Like, you could get like an upper middle management position. Like, obviously, it's so funny because, like, you know, I'm pretty sure I've like turned off all of my things on like the job hunting sites, so like I don't get because I kept getting notifications, and I was like, I'm not looking for a job. I don't care. Like, you know, you don't need to contact me. But I would get these job offerings to come in for like a fucking like for an interview for these jobs that would pay easily like 80 to 90 grand a year, and that's Japan money. And it's like, what? And it's just because like I'm older now, and even though like my resume clearly states that I've just been working like freelance for the last 10 years, they're like, oh well, he's older, you know, he knows his shit. Let's bring him in for an interview, and if we like him, then at least we can get the, you know, because some places they just have people come in for interviews because their boss is like, did you interview anyone yet? And so they interview people with the intention of not hiring them, even if they're unqualified, just to tell their bosses, oh, well, we did interview people. But then there's people that are like, well, you know what, like, I need just somebody, these are my clear requirements for the job, but it's not set in stone. I'm just trying to write that down to get kind of, get rid of the riffraff. And, like, some of the jobs that I, like, applied for, I got the fucking, I got the job even without meeting the requirements just because I applied. I didn't give a fuck, and they would still bring me in for the fucking interview. And it's like, yeah, I don't have, it's like, what is it? Like, I have JLPT1 from 2009, but I don't have it from, like, recently. They're like, well, whatever. I don't have the new one, right? Or something. And it's like, yeah, but whatever. Like, they're like, oh, well, that's okay. Let's just keep out the riffraff, from applying. And so sometimes they respect you for applying even if you don't have all the fucking things. Because, I mean, the whole thing is getting your foot in the door, right? You want to get your foot in the door so that you can get a chance to talk to them. It's like that Louis C.K. joke where it's like, some guys, they look good and they're all skinny. And so they go and they make, like, what is it? Like, they go and they're just, like, walk into a room. And some girl's like, oh, my God, he's so hot. I got to suck his dick. And it's like, he's like, well, guys like me, we walk into a room. And a woman's like, ew. And then he's like, just give me 5 minutes to talk to you. And then it's like, okay, I don't know why, but I got to suck that guy's dick. It's like, yeah, like, you can, like, as long as I get the foot in the door and I can talk to somebody, I can usually schmooze my way through shit, But, yeah, I mean, I'm just saying reverse ageism is there, guys. Like, even though I'm a guy who shouldn't be offered a chance to even come in for interviews like that, and my fucking, like, my job, what do you call it? Like, my job profile is set to private or something, these people are still asking me to come in for these interviews for jobs that I shouldn't be doing by their paper standard, right? By, like, their requirement standard. So it's just, it's kind of like, don't believe the hype, right? And, time is a flat circle. What? Anyway, it's just like Vice Principals, man. Like, Vice Principals is just like, it kind of brings it back to the show Vice Principals. It's got this 80s vibe to it where all the synth music is playing. And you have these guys that are, like, not necessarily the best people. They're not super bad people, but they're not the best people. But, like, you're like, okay, I'll give it a chance because you're such characters to watch this. And I've already kind of, like, learned more about your life. And it's like you're forced to kind of go on this journey with them where you learn more, where you, like, they get humanized. And you're like, you know what, okay, I would like nice things to happen to you. Even though, like, you're not the most perfect person kind of thing, right? And so, yeah, and then, like, this show, it just progresses more and more and more, and then it just escalates more and more and more. And, I don't know, just the dynamic, like, the back and forth that Walter Goggins and like, Danny McBride have with each other when they're on screen. It is so fun. It's so fun to watch them with their back and forth shit, And it's just, I don't know, it's nice. Like, again, like for example, like, there's again, like, with everybody not being perfect and there's people being insecure, right? Like, you've got, like, even the principal that gets hired for the position that they should have had, she's super insecure, like, she's got, like, at one point something happens to her stuff and she blames it on her kids because she doesn't even really know her kids, they're always at school and she's always at work, so she doesn't really know them that well, again, like, I don't know, it's just like, I feel like this is like, it's such Americana too, like, if you're in America and you've gone to, like, high school in America, you'll automatically connect with this. And even if you're not American and you're watching this is such, like, a, like, for example, like, the atmosphere or whatever in this show, right? Like, the atmosphere in this show of, like, the setting of being at the school, right? It makes you feel like, oh yeah, I'm American. Oh man, like, you've got the school mascot, the school sports, the trophy case in the school, the cafeteria, the kids not respecting the teachers that are cool, the teachers that are uptight, the teachers that are power tripping. Yeah, like, I mean, it always boggles my mind still how in Japan, like, the teachers switch the classroom. Like, in Japan, you're usually, except for maybe a couple elective classes or something, you're usually with the same group of people every fucking class. And like, how annoying and stupid is that, you know? Like, fuck, that must suck so much having to deal with that shit, you know? Like, in America, we're spoiled. Like, you could have 7 to 8 different classes, but you don't need to be with the same people all the time, right? So if there's an asshole in one class that you don't like to deal with, that's fine. That's fine, because it's just like, yeah, you only got to deal with them 1 hour out of the day, you know? And sometimes there's days, like, out of the week where you have different classes scheduled for the different day, right? And so, I don't know, I really, it's like, I didn't grow up in Europe or Asia, but I mean, so I don't really know how the European systems work, or school systems in, like, you know, South America or Africa work, but like in Asia, it's like, yeah, you're like, at least in Japan, you're stuck with the same assholes 8 periods a day pretty much. And so, like, you know, I like it how, and also, like, every Japanese school looks the same. It's all just a giant, it's just like a series of rectangle shaped buildings. There's no rhyme or reason. They don't really look nice, you know, and it's all dirt fields and all this bullshit. But anyway, I don't know, it's just America's all about individuality and, you know, slight creative. Well, I mean, it's not really, I don't know. When I think of creative, like, architecture, I think of, like, McDonald's in the 90s, how it was, like, made to be this, like, fun kid place. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, most buildings these days, the architecture I see online doesn't look that fun. It doesn't look that interesting. But, I don't know. I'd still say American schools look more interesting than Japanese schools, by far. But yeah, that's the funny thing too. When people say they don't like crowds or something when they come to Japan, it's like, have you ever been inside a high school or a middle school in America? Like, colleges are different because colleges are spread out and they're usually building by building, and you know, because there's less people in the building, it's not so crowded. But in high school, like, you got these tiny ass thin fucking hallways where there's just people moving in and out, like, kind of like, you know, Penguins, you know, TV dinner kind of shit, you know, and so it's like, it's not really like, it wasn't that big of a culture shock for me when I came to Japan. It was a big culture shock when I went to Hong Kong, and there were bigger areas, but they were still fucking crowded as fuck, especially on Sunday. God, dude, how can people live in that weather? It was just so hot and so polluted. It just, it was like, it was so humid, so even if you found shade, it wasn't that fun. It's like, it's not bueno, it's not good. But yeah, I don't know. It's just it's funny. But yeah, Vice Principals, man. It's just the show, the progression of the show, the Americana, the 80s style fucking you know, music. It's so funny because it's like, this is based in, like, reality, but it's supposed to be kind of like a surreal take. It's supposed to be like kind of a corny take on the whole America thing, you know? It's just like the growing up in America, people, again, like, these are people that are vice principals, right? They're supposed to be positions of power, people who not, like, they garner respect because they are good people and they do good things, but most of the time it's just like a self pat on the back, like, oh yeah, I did that good thing. It's like, yeah, nobody gives a shit, or it wasn't that big a deal. Like, you're just hyping up your own shit. It doesn't matter, you know? But these guys are like, yeah, I did good. I'm awesome. I'm cool. And I don't know. It just, like, it's like, but these guys, even though they're in high positions of power, they're just normal dudes. They're just normal, insecure people that don't, like, they're just pretending to have their shit together. I remember, like, I saw this one video, and they're like, it was one of those street interviews where they're, like, interviewing random people, and they interview this old guy, and he's like, I'm 60, and, like, you know, and they're like, what's the hardest part about being 60? And he's like, well, I wake up and I feel like a 19-year-old still, and I look in the mirror and I'm no longer 19. And it's like, what the fuck, you know? Like, he's like, you know, people, he's like, like, the guy's like, I had a career, I own a house, my kids are grown up and they're out of the, he's like, I have a family, and he's like, I still don't really feel that mature, you know? And it's just like, oh, adults are all, they're all fake and being mature. They're not really, you know, like, they have their shit together, maybe. I don't know. I mean, this is like another reason why, like, community is so important. But then again, like, is this community just there for the sake of it, and you're just gonna blindly trust it? Like, I was talking to my friend's younger brother the other day, and he's like incel-y. He doesn't have any friends. He's never been laid. He just graduated college. He's never been laid. And he's like, well, I kind of like the idea of Islam because, like, this one guy was, like, praying in the campus area, and, like, he had just such conviction, and like, you know, like a clairvoyance of like, yeah, he's doing the right thing. And it's like also like, you know, in Islam you can control women, and like you can you know, like if they get uppity you can beat them and stuff. And it's like, yeah, you know, and there's like a lot of rules that you have to live by. And I was like, dude, you don't have a strong male role model in your life. You've never tried to get laid. So of course, like, you know, like Islam is the most incel-y out of any religion. You know, they want to oppress women. They like, you know, like they want everybody to run like you know, live by their rules. And the only way that they get people to cooperate with them is through violence. You know, it's super incel-y shit. And so I'm like, nah, dude, like if you want to get laid, you got to learn how to deal with women better. How do you do that? Well, get into pickup artist shit. I can send you some books, but like you got to actually try, man. You can't just be like, well, like whenever I think of like incel, like the worst incel, I think of that guy from like City of God, the dude who is the bad guy, the main bad guy in the movie, right? Where it's like he tries to get with women, but they just laugh at him, so he just rapes them instead. You know, it's like, yeah, dude, like, nah, like you gotta let go of the ego, man. Like, you know, you can't just like give up your life to a higher power just because these people look like they have their shit together better than you. It's like they went through their own journey, man. And you gotta remember, if you're just giving your life to these religious, like, you know, you gotta remember too, like the people in charge of these religions, they're all dudes who are doing shit. The Catholics are the ones that are letting like child diddlers get away by just transferring them to other churches, you know, and having people lie because it's part of the church shit. And then you've got like, you know, the dudes in Islam where it's like all of them aren't getting laid, and then like the dudes in charge are getting laid, but then they're fucking kids and shit. It's just like, come on, man. Like, you know, you don't, like, you find your own moral compass. You know, you don't give up like what is, I think there's nothing wrong with having male role models, but just giving yourself up to an institution just to try to feel better and more secure in yourself. I don't know, that's the weak man's way of doing things. Like the way that you become the man who you are, the way that you get those morals or those ethics is because you find role models out there that you can agree with. Like for me, it's like Bruce Lee, Malcolm X. You know, Malcolm X was a Muslim, and like, you know, but I don't agree with everything he said. But the same, and like I'm not gonna become a Muslim because of that. But the guy had a lot of good points. One of my favorite ones is that he's like, the doctor, like Martin Luther King was like, hey, if somebody hits you, you know, you just gotta deal with the violence, you know. And then Malcolm X is like, we're American too. Why don't we just buy guns? So if they try to hurt us, we'll hurt them back. You know, it's like, oh, and the CIA is like, yeah, we gotta get that guy. And but I don't know. It's just like you, like my whole kitchen area. Like eventually I'll do a house tour, but like my whole kitchen area is just filled. I bought like maybe 20 picture frames and then printed out pictures of all these people who I really respect. Like, you know, like Henry Rollins, like Donald Glover, the Game Grumps, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Bruce Lee, like all, you know, Tim Ferriss, like all these men who it's like they've helped shape my life, who I've become. But like these guys, they're like, instead of going out and looking for mentors, they just want to like give away their power to some religion just because they're lost. And it's like, nah, dude, like you don't want to do that. And like again, like the vice principals, the way it kind of goes back and twists back to the vice principals thing is that like these guys, there's no like religious aspect of the show or whatever, right? But it's a show about these guys who, they're not like the best people, they're not super secure, but by the end of the TV show, not only are these guys like, you know, they're friends, but like they were originally enemies, but they've become friends now and they respect each other. But also they've helped each other make each other's lives better, and then like in themselves better too, right? And it's like, without, you know, like every life has hardship, right? There's always going to be something that challenges you to become a better person. And there's some people that buckle and then they let that ruin their lives, and then there's some people that just get knocked down and they get back up, right? And I don't know, it's just like real life is boring. Real life is full of like bullshit and hypocrisy, right? I mean, like that's the thing with young people, right? There's so many autistic young people these days that are chronically online, and they can just see through the bullshit. Like it's like a whole generation of teenagers that just didn't give into the hype, that are just like, yeah, this is all bullshit, like fuck it, you know, I don't care. But then there's also like a whole fucking like generation of like narcissistic douchebags who are just like, yeah, whatever, I'll do what I want. I'm gonna put nudes on my OnlyFans, and I'm gonna just like pull the prank. You know, it's just this gun isn't real. It's just a prank, bro. It's like people doing stupid shit. You know, whatever, right? But I don't know. It's just like it's this show perfectly blends all that stuff. Where it's like it's still a TV show, but it blends with the fact that it's like, oh yeah, it's a TV show, but also it's got a nice dash of realism there. And I'm sorry, guys, I've been all over the place today. I've been watching this. I have this kung fu movie playing in the background here, and it's been really distracting. And now I've learned that, like, okay, from today, I will not put a movie of random people just beating people up in the background. Maybe I'll make that a smaller one, but I'll make the background just like a walking video instead. So I'm sorry if I came off a little bit more rambly and a little bit more like all over the place than I normally do. But anyway, yeah, guys, this is the end of the rant. Let me know what you guys thought. What do you guys think? Have you watched Eastbound and Down? Have you watched Vice Principals? Let me know what you thought about it. I'm curious. Did you guys like it? What parts of it did you like? I really loved the 80s aspect of this, you know. I really enjoyed that. So, yeah. Anyway, with that being said, thanks always for the support, guys. Don't forget to smash the like button. Make sure you're subscribed. Join the Discord. Join the socials. And I'll see you on the live stream that's happening right after this. So, yeah, you guys stay black. Talk to you later. Yeah, buddy.